Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dikshit and this is my channel Pentest Diaries. Today I'll make another video on the same series of lazy programming series, and in this video itself there are three things I'll try to cover. First is the time module, then I'll just talk about the environment, how to develop an environment and what's the requirement of it, and the last one is one other thing where we have to talk about the enumerate function. So I'm just combining three things together in this video, so bear with me, and I'll provide you two codes for the whole tutorial itself. So one is for the time module and one for the enumerate function itself. For that environment, I'll provide you the steps for it. Even in my documentation, even on my blog, you can get the steps about it, so by that way you can able to replicate it. I'm not making that making that replicate on a system itself, but you can able to replicate with that same steps which I have provided. Okay, so I don't think so like you wanted that to be in case if you face an issue itself, you can provide your comment in the comment section of this video. I'll definitely try to make that virtual environment also for you, but I think like the steps which I have provided, it's feasible for you to make that steps. Okay, so let me start with the time module. So what's the need of the time module itself if we talk about? So the time module in Python provides a various function to work with time related tasks such as getting the current time, pausing execution, converting between different time representations, and measuring escape time. Here's an overview. We're talking about like what are the sections for it. So as we already discussed about it, a getting current time. So if you are talking about like in our code itself, if you want a current time, then in that case we simply have to use, like this is one of the module which you have to import it first on your code. Then after that you simply have to use a time. By that way itself you can import that like a variable, then you have to mention it equal to, then you have to mention a sentence time. By that way itself you can get the current time. So current time is just a variable. I have already provided that in the documentation, you can get that, but I'm just explaining you about it. Time is one of the sentence which you have to use just to get the current time, and that you can get it printed. So whatever the variable you're defining it, just transfer that value of time in that variable, and that variable you can print it, you can get the current time. We're talking about the converting time. So talking about like converting a timestamp itself, like in another human readable string itself. So in that case, what we have to do, like we simply have to use a time, but the thing is that over here itself we just have to mention like current time we have calculated, but to make it human readable, we simply have to mention the, like at the time the print, we simply have to use time just to get it convert. To get it convert, we have to use a syntax as first what we have to do, we simply have to get it capture the time in our one of the variable time with the same like similar like the previous one. Now after that what we have to do, we simply have to use time, and that variable where we have to we have already transferred the current time, we have to get it mention that variable over here itself, and then we can get that result of the converting time. So you want to convert the time, that's the thing about it. So make it human readable, we can make by this way. Pausing execution is also one of the thing over there itself. What you have to do, you simply have to pause the time. Like you do not want that to be get it you want something to be get it react after a sleep time. So like this type of thing you're normally seeing at the time of when anyone is doing a penetration testing itself, they are trying to go for the time based SQL injection itself. So by that way what they are doing it, they simply have to mention in that body content or in the parameter itself like a time.sleep, and by that way they are mentioning a time. So by that way itself it will delay the response, and by that way you will able to identify whether it's a time based injection or not. That is injection. I'm not talking about the injection over here, so I'm just talking about the concept of time. What actually the pause execution, it means like we are delaying the response. So if you want to delaying the response, by that way, so you simply have to use time.sleep. By that way, whatever the time slot you are mentioning it, by after that interval time only the response you can able to see on your screen. So mention it if you have mentioned 10 seconds. So after every 10 seconds the response will be get it printed. Then after that once again it's after 10 seconds. So if you're mentioning only one, so the response after at the time of the execution of the program, you can see the response after 10 seconds as you have mentioned a 10-second delay. So that we call it as a time.sleep itself, where we are pausing the execution. Now talking about the formatting time. So formatting time is a bit clear about it. We simply have to get it captured in one of the variable, like the syntax is time dot local time, we simply have to get it mentioned in a current time. Then we have to get it formatted. So just to get it formatted, we simply have to use the, like in another variable, we have to get it forwarded, like we just have to get it mentioned, like in which format, like a year, month, time, minutes, hours, everything we just want to get it captured. So get it captured in a proper format, we simply have to use the syntax time dot strft time. So if we have to mention it in such a way itself, we simply have to use strf time. So by that way we are using with the time and the current time. So whatever the current time we have captured on the top, that local time, we just have to mention it over there itself. So by that, using the same syntax time dot strf time, by that way itself we have to break the whole local time or current time itself, whatever the time is that you are consuming it break down into years, months, days, even a minute, hour, everything you can break it as per your need. Even the second also you can break it. Okay, so that's coming under the formatting time. We're talking about the next section, which is a measure escape time. Over there also you have a different syntax for that. I'm not mentioning each and everything for it. So even a constant is one of the thing where you just have to mention a constants. Like if we're talking about any time zone, you just have to mention that time zone, you can get it printed. So if you want any time zone, you have mentioned it taking the UTC time if you want it. So you simply have to use time dot GM time, and then by that way itself, whatever the variable you are defining and transferring the value from this section itself, that is a syntax. You can get the value of the time of the UTC time zone itself, and you can get it printed. So that's coming under the category of the constants. So that's all about the time module which you are discussed about it. The code I will definitely run it for you once we have done with the whole theory part. So I'm right now going with the next section for it. Once we are coming back on a practical section, then we are going with the code first for the time module, then go for the enumerate function itself. So now the next section is a virtual environment and the requirements. So basically I will give it an idea about it. The things you can the steps you can replicate very easily, but I'll just give it an idea about it. What's the need of the virtual environment? So the virtual environment required it like at the time when you are making a code, and some of the libraries you wanted on a, taking example, NumPy library, you are using it for one of the code, and for that code you required 1.14, and for another code one project you are required 1.14, and for another project you required 1.13. So instead of downgrading the NumPy again and again, it's far better we have to make a virtual environment. By that way itself, at the time of execution of the project A, I have to use this virtual environment. At the time of the execution of the another one, I have to use this environment. So that's a basic concept behind a virtual environment, why we required it. Okay, the theory part you can get it covered itself. The steps also, how to make the virtual environment, everything I've covered in my documentation. Just go through it. I'm not reading it for you. But the thing is that this is the main reason behind it, why we required it and what's the requirement of it. Most of the time, like when we are making a bigger projects, we wanted that to be segregated. Like at the time of the testing itself, we wanted to be segregated whether this updated version is favorable or not. To get it tested, like we simply have to make the virtual environment so that we are giving those updated packages version, so that we can try to check whether the code is working appropriately or not with the updated version. If it's not, definitely we have to go back to the previous virtual environment itself instead of using the older new one. Okay, that's the main concept behind a virtual environment and the requirements. The code is also be there itself. You simply have to run the commands and everything, how to activate it, how to deactivate, everything I'll cover it. Now we talk about the enumerate function. So this is one of the thing where what we are supposed to do, we are making a list. That list we wanted, the out of that list itself we'll try to fetch the content out of that list, and we'll just try to get it mapped appropriately as per our need itself. So whatever the content we have mentioned, accordingly try to get, like index we are mentioning, like what are the components, we'll try to get it mapped. It's accordingly after the enumerate of it, it's get it mapped. So taking example, you have list of 0, 1, 2, 3. Then after that, if we have mentioning in the for loop itself, putting it using the enumerate function over there itself, by that way from the list each and every component to be get it mapped to the components, and accordingly indexing will be get it mentioned. So at the time when it's get it print on your screen, the indexing will be get it printed along with that components, what are the components you have it. Okay, so that's the stuff about it. If you want it, like even I have provided a couple of examples in my document also, you can able to get that. I'll read the content for you, just a liner about it, what actually the enumerate function is and how exactly it utilize it. That's it. And other than that, the content, the example, the syntax, everything I provided in the documentation, so you can go through it. Even if you face an issue, like at the time of the running the code, you will definitely able to understand how exactly it's working. But if you're still facing an issue itself, you're not able to understand, definitely just ping me on the comment section of this video. I will definitely try to make that content appropriately once again, make it that these things to be examples to be get it explain you once again about. But I think with the code you are able to understand very well. So to enumerate the function in Python is a built-in function that allow you to loop over a iterable such as a list, tuple, strings, while also keeping track of the index of the current item. So whatever that the current item, it's get it tagged, it's get it mapped, it will track that also. It returns an enumerate object which yield pairs of indices and corresponding values of the iterable. So it means like whatever that pointer where it's get mapped and that value also, both the things to be coming under that. So index is one other thing and the value also to be get it printed, and that to be coming out of using that from the list. Using the enumerate function we can get it fetch out and putting the index and even the values, and that to be get it printed. So that's the functionality of the enumerate function by which we can use it. Even with multiple combination we can try with that. Even in our code also we'll try in that way also. So I think most of the stuff is already covered, all the three sections. Now what I'll do, I will go to my machine and explain you about the actual crunch about it with the code itself. And at the time I will request you, when you're seeing this lecture, definitely open my documentation in one side so that you can able to understand each and every concept about it. And this is just a small concept, not a bigger thing, but if you're opening the document, read the content appropriately, you can able to correlate the stuff with the examples appropriate. I have provided the examples for each and everything which we have discussed so far. So there is nothing like a concern of it. You can able to understand. If you're not, just go through it once again, you will able to understand. If after that also you're not able to understand, just let me know about it. Okay, so let me go to the system now and explain you about with the code also. Okay, so proceeding further with the practical portion itself. So this is a time module based code which I'm just presenting right now. So I'll give it the output in two parts itself. So one with the which we have already discussed about it, with the sleep, and which we talk about the pause of the execution itself. That is one thing. And if I'm not using the sleep times sleep itself section, then in that case what actually the output is it. So in this code itself, at upper section itself, we are using sleep mode, where I'm just reducing, I'm just delaying the response, and once it's get completed, I'll try to print the same output without using a sleep mode. So in both the cases we'll see like time.sleep when we're using how much time it take, and if we are not using it, how much time it will take. I'm using a while in case of time.sleep. In case of without running that code itself, the same type of stuff I'll try to get it printed and how much time it will take. For that I'm using a for loop. So I'll explain you the code first. So this is the initial which I'm making it. This is just a variable name. I'll put it the current time over here itself, whatever the current time, it just get it captured over here itself. Now this is the value I'm taking it, k equal to 0. From the 0 itself it started, so it will get it printed 4 times for me, as I am just asking. It just started from 0 itself and it going till the value is not, this one is not true itself. Like till the value is true, this will run, and once the value is false, it's automatically coming out of it. Okay, so what we have to do, we simply have to print it. Then again I'll just sleep it. I'll just sleep that. So thing is that after every 2 seconds itself, the next output will be get it printed. So once the code will be run and reach it to this point, it will wait for 2 seconds, then it's going for the increment and going once again for it. Okay, that is the thing. We'll see one by one all the steps for it. Now if I'll talk about the next section for it, so this is the section where I'm just calculating the time. So what I have calculated, initial. So initial, I put it over here itself. Seconds, I just want to mention it, and this is just a statement which I want to get it printed. And this is the time. Whatever the time is the current time. After once that whole code is completed, how much is the current time? So from the current time, I'll try to get it reduce the initial time, and by that way I will able to get the seconds, how much seconds get it consumed. Now in the second section of the code itself, I'll try to run the same thing, but it's the same thing, but the thing is that I'm not using this time.sleep, so there is no delay. It will get it prompt immediately on a screen. When I run the code, once this section is completed, you can see it's in a fraction of seconds you can able to see the output of this section also. Okay, let me run the code for you. You can able to understand by that way. So you can able to see this is print once. Now it will delay for 2 seconds, then again it get print, and then after that, after 3, once the condition will be false, it's coming out of it, and that output will be get it printed over here itself with the time, get it minus with the current time, and whatever the initial time we have started, we'll get that output. Then after that, it's go for the second section where we are not using a sleep statement. That was one other thing. So this is related to the time module. Now going for the next section, where we're talking about the next section is a enumerate function itself. So how exactly it's working, which we'll discuss about it. I'll make one of the list over here itself. Now what exactly is happening, I'll put the for loop and I'll put over here itself like in enumerate L1. So I'll put it that L1 is inside of the enumerate itself, and these are the two things which I just want to get it mapped. So each and every section, like tea is on 0, coffee is on 1, so that is coming under the index section, and that item value is coming under the item. So item is considered as a value itself. So whatever the value, like a tea is coming under the item, coffee is coming under this. So that is the thing is coming over here itself. But over here itself a condition is also there. Like I wanted that index value equal to ampersand 2 equal to 0. So it's get it print only those items which fulfill these conditions, this condition, then only you can get it print. So let me run the code for you. You can able to see I can print only 2. It's at the time when we are mentioning as a t, at the time it will get, I'm getting that as a 0. That was the reason it will get print. Once again, if you're going for that, and I will see like at the time when it's reaching to this position, it's 2. So 2 by 2 equal to 1. But if I'll just talk about the ampersand, it's a 0 itself. There's nothing like a value to be get it written. So I will see over here itself, there's nothing like 0 equal to 0. So it's definitely be fulfilled. So I'll just print that only for the tea and only for the milk. These are the two things for the, I'll just have to print it that. Okay, so it's a easy code itself. I just want to get it explain you about the enumerate and the time module itself. Both the things I have covered well in this code now. So I think you are able to understand both the concepts for it. If you think like still you have a doubt, just run the same code once again itself. Try to understand with the tutorial which I have explained you each and everything. Still if you're not able to understand, please let me know in the comment section of this video. I'll definitely try to make the more content so that you can able to understand. I wanted these concept will be get it clear to you so that you can able to utilize it in a later phase itself. Okay, so thank you so much once again. Take care. Bye bye. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel. Take care. Bye bye.